everybody, welcome to our webinar dedicated to introduce to you the process to enter into collaboration with TRUMPF. This webinar will really deal with the process. So you can see in this slide, one of the major step of this process is really to be selected for the TRUMPF Venture Forum, and I will explain that to you today. And I'm very happy to have the chance to introduce you Dieter Kraft. So Dieter is TRUMPF Venture Managing Director. Hello, Dieter.
Hello together. Very happy to meet you here or e-meet you via this webinar. We will do together, Geraldine and myself, an intro for you to make you better understand what we are expecting and how to proceed.
So Dieter will be here also to answer all your questions, because we know some of you do not know exactly what TRUMPF activity is and how to collaborate and why collaborating with TRUMPF. So this is really the idea of this webinar. So as you all know, because you're participating to this webinar, the TRUMPF and TRUMPF Venture are currently looking for innovative companies to collaborate with in different fields. So we have the different fields, additive manufacturing, artificial intelligence, robotics, photonics, and quantum technologies. But it's much more than that, and Dieter will explain that to you in more details. And the type of collaboration we would like to set up, it's either as partner, either through investments, or also as qualification as supplier. So a lot of different opportunities. And to answer already one of the questions, yes, you will get all the slides. So will it take advantage of this webinar to ask directly your questions? And to do that, you have a question box. So if you click on the right part of your screen, you can just type your questions and we will answer all of them. So you can make a test if you want, and I will let you know if it's working. So what is very important here is that this entry into collaboration with TRUMPF is following a very good, I will say, selection process. This process is open until the 26th of August. And as we said, we can have development collaboration, commercial distribution partnership, and also you can benefit from equity investments by TRUMPF Venture. So first of all, we would like to know if because you are allowed to ask questions, but we would like to ask you a question as well. We would like to know if you know already about TRUMPF group, its activity, but also the TRUMPF Venture activities. So I will open just now a question, and you just have to answer directly on the screen. So if you know, if you don't know, answer to that, because it will be also useful for us to make maybe more deeper presentation of TRUMPF activities. So for the moment, it seems that it's 50-50, 50% of you actually now it's evolving. So it's more 60% of you who do not know about the TRUMPF group activities. So it's very useful. We have this webinar, so we can explain that to you in more details. And again, please ask your questions so we can answer in more details. So at Blumorpho level, we consider TRUMPF as a high-tech company engaging into investment and collaboration strategy. That's why we have this action ongoing. But I really like to ask you, Dieter, if you could introduce us in more details what TRUMPF is about.
Yeah, happy to do that. So TRUMPF is a company with two major business fields in machinery and laser technology. We produce more or less all types of lasers for different applications. TRUMPF itself has an innovation leader strategy, and within this innovation leader strategy, we obviously doing a lot of those innovation in-house, but also are more or less on the way since a while to cooperate very closely to the open innovation scene, to startups, and to partners in different, let's say, levels of depth. Yeah. So this is more or less what you see here is a part of, for example, laser cutting of metal, but we also supply machinery for sheet metal operations as well as laser welding. And we are looking, especially in the startup scene, for an expansion of those optical photonics and laser-driven applications. Currently, we in a majority operate in the B2B business, whereas we are quite open to expand this to a B2C as well. The worldwide presence of TRUMPF speaks more or less its own words. We have a little bit Europe-centered, but also in Asia and Americas production sites. You can see the numbers here on the slide yourself. The green dots are part of our sales organization and the service business, where TRUMPF is quite advanced in the machinery industry 4.0 or industrial internet service business already. And that is leading me directly to the link to the startup scene and to the growth opportunity of TRUMPF Venture. So we are in my organization, in my team, we are a corporate venture within the first fund. I have a background myself of about 10 years venture capital in the past. Not that long with TRUMPF, but building the fund or expanding the fund to the fields I already mentioned. The major goal is really to find new working space, new business expansions in technology, as well as in business innovations, together with you as a, let's say, innovative young company where we can give more than only money, which is industrialization, which is opening the market, which is where obviously we are in, and which is learning together, for example, as breakthrough innovation also in a supply chain model.
And Dieter, could you explain more details how the TRUMPF Venture is working?
TRUMPF Venture is working on a, let's say, on a worldwide basis, currently focusing to Europe, expanding to Israel and to the US. And we typically take, and this is maybe on the next slide, gives a little bit an overview. We are working in a minority. We take minority shareholdings, restrict ourselves to maximum 25%. We in later stages typically take a board seat, and we are closely cooperating, but with a Chinese wall to the TRUMPF mother organization. So all what we do or what we see is kind of assessed from our side about a strategic fit. If the strategic fit, which means future business expansion, is given from our perspective, we have a second check mark, which is innovation leverage, high enough to survive for the company. And third, the financial returns, which is very important for us for syndication with syndicate investors, and as well spending or creating value for the startups we invest in. So these three items, strategic fit, innovation leverage, and financial returns in a risk adequate manner, are the key things we take as filter criteria, besides the standard ones you all know, market, team, and so on. So the criterions are pretty much the same as you know from other VCs. What we can give as a value add is the industrialization and the market access, the context to the mother organization, which brings, I think, a value add for both sides. And you see here a little bit the sketch, fund size. We have standard terms and conditions, so no extra terms. All what you know from the venture capital scene and institutional investors. The terms we agree upon and we negotiate typically try to consider the major risk we see in the deal, but in a common sense with the respective company. Funding is in an early stage, let's say between $500,000 to $1 million, depending if it is more software or more hardware oriented, and overall per company up to 5 million euro, or let's say about $6 million US.
Good, thank you for this introduction indeed. Now a question. So we see that you have a strong support for companies through the industrialization, through TRUMPF activities, and through the VC's activities as well. What is the ambition of the group in collaborating with startups, and how do you want to expand those collaboration? Explain the reason of this webinar today.
The TRUMPF Group ambition to strengthen the startup collaboration is to learn the typical startup skills, agility, very quick decisions, decisions which do not require long-term decision processes, and we try to learn from a leadership principle and add this or complement this to the TRUMPF internal things. We are relatively fast already, but we try to make use of this open innovation aspects in a complement to the closed innovation we have in-house. And this superposition of these two sources of innovation is for us key to grow in the future as we did in the past.
Right. So in the introduction of this webinar, we just give some keywords about your field of interest. Now that you have introduced the TRUMPF activity, maybe you could give us a bit more information about the field you would like to collaborate on.
The field of cooperation, I think we have it in the search field. So what you see here is kind of two major fields I introduced already, which is the laser technology and the manufacturing technology, so machinery, which goes into a direction of smart factory in a broader sense, and which goes in the laser technology in a systems approach of advanced photonics, which is extremely broad and supported by the digitization of our business, by sensors and automation, by connectivity, by new computing or computational architectures, and by industrial software systems. In more detail, this is a very broad field of about 20 different fields within the respective outlook to the future, which you can see here. And this means that what I initially introduced, sheet metal cutting and welding and so on, what traditionally is linked to a company like TRUMPF in the past, dramatically changes to new applications which we make use of, like factory system, robotics, quantum technologies. We see upcoming being a game changer in the future, where we intend to participate, not only by entering this business, which is not clear yet, but also by providing our competencies in these fields, and potentially cooperate in this sense, by an investment, co-learning with an investment, and seeing if this is a potential business for TRUMPF, by intention, not necessarily acquiring the company later on, but doing a standard VC business and taking the time where we invested and where we grow the company together with you. We try to assess how far this fits to our competencies, to our skills, and if this fits indeed to what could be an expansion for TRUMPF. As I said, not necessarily acquiring the company. This is not the intention of the investment. We are no pre-acquisition division or something. We act like a typical institutional VC, but with dedicated fields. And that is what I mentioned about the search fields. The webinar itself, and we will come to that in a later process description, on the 9th and 10th of October, will have about, my guess is 80 to 100 participants from worldwide, all business units, where you can get contact in a very efficient way. And obviously the TRUMPF guys can get contact to you if you apply and if you succeed the assessment criteria, the selection criteria, where you get in one day a very good contact to the organization, not only to the venture team.
Right, so it's really both, and we'll come back to this point later on. Just for our people participating to the webinar today, we have also some keywords that we could come back on, and we will share with you, since you're participating to this webinar today, so you have also further explanation of some of the keywords where there is a good opportunity for collaboration. But as we said, it's quite open. And what is important for you to know is that we have set up a process for you really to enter into collaboration with TRUMPF. So the first step is really to fill in the online application. You all have received the link to fill in this form. And we're going to enter now into a pre-selection process. So the pre-selection process will start tomorrow on the 15th of June. And we will work at Blumorpho with the TRUMPF venture team to make sure that there is a good fit with what you do and what TRUMPF interest is. And you will receive a feedback on that, because it's very important for us to share with you the feedback on our analysis, so you know about the assessment results. And it's also very important information to you, we know that. And if you are pre-selected, and it means that if you are raising interest from the TRUMPF group, then we will organize a first meeting, a phone meeting, where we will make a mutual introduction, and you can start discussing what type of collaboration could be set up. Then we will have a second level selection, because 15 companies will be then invited to come to the TRUMPF Venture Forum, and that will be organized on the 9th and 10th of October in Dinsingen. But from the 28th of August, this final selection will start, and you will get the results on the 4th of September. So it's going to be quite fast as selection. That's why we really encourage you to start as soon as possible, so you can get the first feedback early in the process. It means also that if you enter earlier in the process, you can adapt your positioning. We can work with you to assess new opportunity of collaboration and really be well prepared for the final selection. So as we said, a full process and really dedicated to help you to enter in collaboration with TRUMPF. The ending point, I will say, of this process and the starting point of your collaboration with TRUMPF will be this TRUMPF Venture Forum on the 9th and 10th of October. And as it has said, you will have a great opportunity to meet a lot of people from TRUMPF, from the different business units at a global level, which is quite unique, we can say, and a really great opportunity. And the goal here is really to start efficiently discussing about collaboration. So how do we do that? As you know, you're going to have a lot of people in front of you. So we want to make sure that they have a full understanding of what you do. And the best way to make a presentation of you is to have a very good pitch. On the 10th of October, you will have a full day in TRUMPF, meaning that we will have an introduction by Dieter Kraft on this day. And we have a keynote from TRUMPF activities, presenting also the vision of TRUMPF and how to build collaboration with TRUMPF. Then you will be invited to make your pitch. And this presentation will be done in front of all the TRUMPF people. In the afternoon, you will have the one-on-one meetings, as we said, to strengthen the discussion on collaboration and really start engaging into potential actions to be undertaken. So as we said, it's really a great opportunity for you to enter into collaboration with TRUMPF. And now how to apply to that? Actually, it's quite simple. You know, you have all received the information. So you just have to use this link on our website to fill in the application form. The TRUMPF website will be also available soon, but for the moment, you can totally use this one. And now the application is clear, you know how to enter, but what is very important for us is that you have a full understanding about what will be the assessment by TRUMPF on potential collaboration. So Dieter, could you share that with us? How do you assess opportunity of collaboration? What are the key criteria you are looking at?
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is not, I think for most of you, this is not new. We obviously try to understand the market. We try to find a business unit and a collaboration model, if any, at that time already, which needs to be considered. So this is what I introduced as a kind of a strategic fit. To elaborate a little bit on that is, it can happen, and we have no business unit buy-in at that time already, that the business unit itself doesn't see their future in your business yet. But that's not the reason not to invest. So we can cooperate with a business unit without an investment. We can invest without cooperation, but we are happy to combine both of them and bring you together with the business units and in the context of an investment. Therefore, as typically you see in all statistics, the team is the most important thing for us as a criterion to make the venture really happen. The differentiation, somehow the defendability, if any, should be mentioned, and your goals, your objective within the market should be mentioned. The financial returns is coming in a later stage, but a perspective. You can be sure that we are aware what typical business models allow for let's say financial returns for us. This is something we can talk individually, and this is nothing what is in terms of let's say knowledge for the business units of highest importance. This is only valid for an investment case for us. And I would go so far that I say the financials in terms of an investment decision is nothing we would discuss with the business unit, because this is purely our thing, which we need to know once we are in closer exchange or call it due diligence. So this is for the Trump Venture Forum, just an indication or an estimate.
And what is also very interesting from our point of view is that you will have the chance to discuss that also through the introduction meeting if you are pre-selected to go further in the selection process.
Yes.
So you know that already, you know the process. So I'd like to ask you questions as participant to this webinar. Have you already started your application? Yes or no, because if you haven't started yet, then we can also answer some of your questions directly. So please answer this question. It will be also useful for us at Blumorpho to help you through the process. So I see that few people haven't answered yet. So okay, now we have the feedback. And if you haven't started yet, or we'd like to know if you are planning to apply, because that's also very important for us to know. So if you're not planning to apply, we would like to know why, because we think it's a really great opportunity. For the moment, everybody planned to apply, so which is good. And again, the Blumorpho team is really here to help you through this process. So you have the contact details from Mira and from myself, and don't hesitate, of course, to contact us. I just see a few people who haven't answered yet, so please answer the question. So 2 more seconds. Thank you very much. And also another question we would like to ask you is also, I think, very important for Dieter to know, is what is your main interest in being selected for the Trump Venture Forum? Is it to enter into development collaboration? Is it to develop some commercial or distribution partnership? Or is it to get some equity investment by Trump Venture? And Dieter, correct me if I'm wrong, but it could be multiple choice, right?
Yeah, it is.
So it's very interesting because actually it's quite equal. Everybody seems to be interested in the third, in the three support you can provide to company, and that's from my point of view very important, because it is exactly what you're looking for. We need to bring both the equity investment as VCs, and also hold your industrialization, access to markets, and collaboration with companies. So I see a good alignment between those companies and what you want to provide them with. So it's good that you have already started your application for the one who have done it, because as you can see, if you really want to get the feedback from the first validation, and if you want to have the first meeting, it's better you start really before the 26th of August. As you know, the deadline to apply the 26th of August, and the final selection will start on the 28th. So if you really want to improve your chance of success, really start the soonest as possible. And we have decided to apply one specific rule, which is the first come, the first served. So again, if you want to have the chance to have the feedback and have the first meeting with Dieter and his team, really start as soon as possible. Your contact details, if you have any questions, is Ermira, as you know already, for most of you, I guess. So don't hesitate to contact her. She will be really pleased to answer all your questions. And your contact for Trump Venture is Dieter Kraft. So here again, it's a great chance to be in direct contact with the general manager of Trump Venture. So it really shows also the strong interest Trump is putting and collaborating with startups. Just a question for you also, as participant to this webinar. Are you already in contact with the Trump group? So it would be also useful for us to know, because then if you're already in contact, we will ask you who you are in contact with, because it could be also useful for Dieter and his team to contact those people and to to discuss already the type of collaboration that could be set up. So really answer all those questions because it will help you through the process. And my final question is, are you in contact already with TRUMPF Venture? Could be interesting to know. So if you're not, again, that will be a great chance of entering into collaboration. So I asked you already a lot of questions, and I think it will be the good timing now to ask directly your question to Deesercraft, and we will start now the Q&A session. So some of you have already asked your questions. So maybe, Dieter, we can go through the first question. So what I can tell on my side is that, yes, all the slides will be available. So no issues on that. We have a question, Dieter, on to know if TRUMPF is interested in doing pilot or trial projects at TRUMPF factories.
Yes, we do, and we do already that type of stuff. So we are using using the application service we usually use, and the production side where we set up a kind of trial production, obviously in a protected space, but we are doing this kind of tryout within the production side. Yes.
Okay. We have a question also regarding the application link, so do not worry. Mira will contact you back if for the one who haven't started your application, and she will resend you the link. No issues on that. How do you plan to treat the IP topic when TRUMPF will be involved in the development process?
I mean, the IP, if TRUMPF is in a development process, we typically handle this as a foreground question. So if we are in a cooperation, what is already patent protected by TRUMPF remains to TRUMPF. What is protected to the partner is protected for the partner. And if we come to a common agreement where both parties provide value to the respective IP protection, it belongs to both usually.
Okay. We have also another question. Are you looking for startup with minimum viable product ready or the ID only?
If possible, the minimum viable product, at least a prototype, where we can assess if it really works, and if possible, so this is a broad spread already, yeah. If possible, already potentially first customers, early adopters in a tryout, not necessarily creating major revenues, but a kind of a customer opinion is quite helpful for us to assess the willingness of the market to really apply the idea.
Okay. We have another question to know if TRUMPF have any connection to the semiconductor industry.
Yes, we do, and we do produce our semiconductor lasers ourselves.
Right. A more specific question on: do you consider novel supercomputing architecture to be within your scope of interest?
Sorry, I haven't got it acoustically. Would you mind?
Yeah, sorry. Would you consider novel supercomputing architecture to be part of your scope of interest?
Yes, we do. I can briefly tell you why. Because I think if we have new kind of computing technologies. Such technologies might require a change in the architecture, and such kind of architectural change might create new software solutions and new kind of benefits of networked systems in different manner, like we know it, for example, from edge computing or other kind of technologies with classical semiconductor use. If we think a step further to, for example, quantum technologies, this means major changes in computing, in algorithms, and a kind of a dedicated rethinking of all we know about computing as of now.
Right. I have other questions. Would you be interested? Oh, no, sorry. They are not interested in funding, but they would like to create, together with TRUMPF, an AI solution that TRUMPF could sell and use and sell, sorry. Should they apply for collaboration?
To sell via TRUMPF their solution, or what is the?
Yeah, the goal is to create with you an AI solution that TRUMPF could use and sell to their customers. So, like to develop an AI solution with you that you could commercialize.
Yes, could be of interest. Sure. And we see potential. I mean, the potential is clearly predictive maintenance, understanding the processes, and the, let's say, the machine learning of our machines, for example, in learning application processes of our customers. There's a lot of space where I could imagine such a solution makes sense. Honestly, to very frank and open, we are currently already working on it, so it needs to be assessed if we are not in a conflict of interest, but this is clearly communicated, and we would tell so in an early stage. It's not about picking up the technology and selling it for TRUMPF. If we do so, we do it together.
Okay. We have a question I think you already answered, but do you prefer investing as a lead investor or as a follow-on investor?
We can play both roles. So we are prepared to lead around, but we are also prepared to follow. Both possibilities are viable.
Okay. And are you mainly interested in hardware or also in software?
In both. I think the more rare investment is today in hardware, especially if you go to semiconductor technologies, which is quite capital intensive. But we are still investing in this because we think it's necessary to create new solutions for software-driven systems. And therefore, I would say both kind of applications are welcome.
Right. We have several questions about seed level entities. We discussed about the prototype or the minimum viable product before. It seems that some of the participants are still rather on the research level, meaning that they are about to launch their company. Can they apply? Is it too early? What do you think?
We are investing in seed and even let's say in pre-seed companies, but on a very rare basis. So please, in such case, please double check if, from your opinion, it's really a breakthrough innovation, which is for us a criterion to step in that early. If it is hard to say what is the differentiation, to a potential competitor already in the market, for us, a seed investment is simply too risky.
Right. We have a question about your strategy in smart factories. It's a large question, so I don't know if you want to answer now.
And what is the question about smart factory?
Your strategy.
That's not that easy to summarize in a short answer. But what we do is basically we see smart factory as a kind of an envelope consisting out of different ingredients, which we prepare from connected systems, from the AI aspect I already learned, ending at the end of the day to an autonomous factory in a later stage. And Mr. Kammüller, who you mentioned, Geraldine, is selected by myself, and I'm very happy that I could win him for the keynote. He is the Chief Digitization Officer of TRUMPF and will report about exactly what we are doing in the digitization of within the TRUMPF strategy.
Right. Okay. So again, this TRUMPF Venture Forum will be very interesting for company indeed. Maybe we're going to take three more questions. That's okay for you, Dieter?
Yeah, sure.
Does TRUMPF also offer precision mass manufacturing opportunity for its partners?
Sorry, I haven't got it again. What is that?
If you offer mass production opportunities, like do you produce also for your investment companies or your partner companies?
Yes and no. That is a little bit. It depends a bit. We would offer this opportunity if it fits to our production facilities with minor variations. We would not do so if we have to invest in a fully new production principle or production line. So this is just as a side effect for the business unit. It is business unit related and not TRUMPF Venture controlled. And if the business unit at that stage, the business unit has to spend their money for it, it's not our budget then. They have to decide within a corporation if it is of interest to really produce together and or offer a kind of a production service for the startup.
Right. We have also another question, which is, as you will see, when evaluating startups, are you more focused on the potential of the technology the company is developing, or if you are more assessing if the company has already achieved market validation?
In the assessment, I would say it's a summary of all the criterions we mentioned, and so it's for us important is that the package is okay and in a common sense. If there's a market validation already, this can be of help. If you have, just to explain it a little bit, and if you have a totally new technology where you have to build the market, we obviously wouldn't shy away to invest in that, because this has a potential to be really a breakthrough, and we would follow that. So in such cases, we would be okay with having, let's say, a first proof of concept wherever it is. It can be in university, it can be in the lab, it can be done wherever. But it should be reasonable, at least reasonable that it can work.
And final question, is TRUMPF interested in mobile manufacturing logistics?
Mobile manufacturing analysis.
And logistics, sorry, no. Mobile manufacturing and logistics.
I think this is quite far away of what we do now. I think we should see a kind of business idea for it in order to check if this fits on a long run with the TRUMPF production or mobility potential business expansion. For me, hard to say, and as a gut feeling, relatively far away, but needs to be assessed. The worst thing what can happen here is that once we see it and we read it, that we say, hey guys, this is really too far away, doesn't fit, sorry, but I wouldn't reject it from the very beginning.
Right. Okay. And sorry, Dieter, last question because it came several times. Do you have an average percentage of ownership you usually targets as investor?
Yeah, typically between 10 and 25%, but we also do it sometimes depending in a more mature stage, just to balance the fund. We would also go for, let's say, 5 to 10%. It depends a little bit on the maturity and the stage of the deal. Typically, average stage between 10 to 25%.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you for all those answers. I think we covered all the questions. If you have more, don't hesitate to contact us, of course. At Blumorpho, we are here to help you through this process. So maybe, Dieter, I can give you the conclusion for this session, for this webinar.
Okay.
So
for me,
yes.
again, thanks all of you for participating. Hope you took away some hints for your application, and really would be happy to see them as early as possible, because it helps us to split it a little bit in the team as well, and not having all the applications in, let's say, the last 2 to 3 days. Participating makes me believe that you are already on this good way, and yeah, thanks a lot. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask Geraldine and her team or myself directly.
So thank you very much, Dieter, for all of those very detailed information and your participation to this webinar, and for answering all the questions. I'd like also to thank all the participants. You will receive the slides, you will receive also the recorded version of this webinar, and we are really looking forward collaborating with you on this process to enter into collaboration with TRUMPF. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.